I enjoyed it immensely. I really did. He's unhinged and informal to a degree that just, the lack of formality just annoys Boyd in and of itself.
Well, he comes across as like one of those IT guys, like from customer support, like not customer support, but you got to reboot your computer. Like, you don't know what this is. You don't know how to do that.
Exactly. What do you mean you don't know how to clear your cache? Come on. Yeah, when they mention Emulex, he just straight up laughs at him.
It's like one of those characters that is very memorable, like they write in and then he's gone.
Yeah. It's one episode, right? It's not even a whole episode. He doesn't even have an arc. It's just, it's great. And he's got the hot girlfriend with the snake around her like it's an 80s music video.
That white snake video. Yeah.
Exactly. But the snake, I don't know if you noticed this or not, depending on the scene, like you can tell where the cuts are. There's a few moments where that snake looks very, very stuffed.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it's when she's right next to Boyd, like it looks like a stuffed snake that you'd get out of like a claw machine or something. Just a couple of notes here about this conversation. The first is Guantanamo Bay made me laugh a lot. Hook your nuts up to a car battery. I thought that was pretty funny. We also got this.
God damn, woman, you only shoot people when they're eating supper.
We got a reference to a Negroni. And Negroni is, according to Wynn, Italian and tastes like grapefruit. And Boyd does not want one. It's such a great reaction. I don't want one, he says. This is one of the most authentic Boyd Crowder reactions I've ever seen. And so Negroni is gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. That's it's a mixed drink. It's not not something you can go buy off a shelf. It's a 3-ingredient cocktail. And one of the fundamental 3-ingredient cocktails from what I've read, which I've never had a Negroni, I don't want one either based on what's in it. So yeah, it recently gained a lot of popularity. There was an audio clip that was running around of a woman with a British accent, an actress, I think, who was asked what her favorite drink was. And she said it's a Negroni Sabagliato, which is a Negroni, but you put a splash of Prosecco in it. And that became like an audio meme, sort of. Negroni Spagliato with a splash of Prosecco is kind of how she says it. And it became a thing on TikTok in like 2020 or 2021 that was very popular for a while and then went away like everything on TikTok. But I thought that was interesting that it sort of regained popularity a little bit. So have you ever had a Negroni? I've never had one.
I'm not really a drinker.
That's true.
Not even, like I'll have an occasional beer, but I don't think I've ever ordered like a mixed drink ever.
Yeah. I feel like Boyd has never argued a mixed drink or never ordered a mixed drink either. Right. Like it's either bourbon or nothing for him. It feels like.
Yeah. So. And they've mentioned, was it this episode? I mean, like they always mention the Pappy Van Winkle.
Yeah.
So he just like basically drinks it straight out of the bottle.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Maybe a little bit of ice depending on his mood, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So the Wiz or what's his name? Louis Mago. He has a copy of the safe. And so they head off to the abandoned foundry. He's working on it, and they're like, and then he says something to the effect of, well, an A-bomb could go off and this thing would still be standing. And I'm like, all right, so how do you plan to get into it then? If an A-bomb wouldn't open that safe up, how are you going to do it? And we see that he's looking to drill and put some strategically placed explosives in drill holes in an effort to crack the safe. Sort of a Mission Impossible sort of safe cracking operation, if you will.
Or Ocean's 11.
Yeah, Ocean's 11. Yeah, or what's the one with Robert De Niro and Edward Norton and Marlon Brando that takes place in Canada?
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't remember. It's a good movie. I don't remember because Edward Norton plays a character who pretends to be developmentally disabled at the job he works at in order to get into the job. Like
that was like, it was the long score or
the score. That's what it is. Yeah, the score.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it feels a little, because I think in that one they drill into the safe and they fill it with water and then put the explosives in order to blow the door off the safe, right? Because you use the water to displacement or whatever. Basically the whole plot of the Indiana Jones movie.
Yes. That was fat Marlon Brando, man.
That was fat Marlon Brando. Have you seen the documentary with the Val Kilmer documentary?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So there's this documentary about Val Kilmer and about him losing his voice, and but it's also about his career and his history and everything. And he did the documentary. And there's this scene with Marlon Brando where he's on like a swing, and it's fat Marlon Brando, and he looks at Val and he goes, "Give me a shove." He wants him to push him in the swing.
Oh man,
"Give me a shove," he says. It's fantastic. So
it's crazy because he, like, when he was younger, he was a very good looking guy.
Oh yeah.
He just, I don't know. I think the only other movie, obviously he was in The Godfather. There was a movie, I think it was like Don Juan DeMarco. Do you remember that one with Johnny Depp and Marlon Brando?
Yeah.
I think that was the only I remember. Like him, they had to do. You could tell they had to do a special seats and stuff for him because he gained so much weight.
I understood that later in his career he refused to memorize lines. Like he would put an earpiece in, or they would tape his lines to the floor.
I think I saw something like that. Yeah. And he would just he would memorize it. They would just had cue cards. Talk in his ear or whatever.
Just impossible to work with.
He's like worse than Chevy Chase, I guess.
Oh yeah, Chevy Chase, a world-class asshole. I love Chevy Chase. Yeah. I think he's hilarious. I think there are only like a dozen people in the world who are funnier than Chevy Chase, but he is just a world-class asshole too. So.
Yeah, he's like high maintenance, man. Yep. like Jennifer Lopez, like we had talked about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and arguably racist, I think too, which is kind of a bummer. So, so he takes their phones as they start experimenting with the explosives, and then when we go back, Boyd and Wynn are having a conversation about what they're going to do after they get their money. Which is great. It's like, it reminds me a little bit of people at work talking about, oh, if I won the lottery, what would you do if you won the lottery?
Oh yeah.
and Wynn's talking about going to live in Maui because he grew up there apparently on the mean streets of Paia, which I've been to Paia. And he surfed every morning, and he wants to go back there and do that again. And Boyd hasn't decided yet. And Wynn asks him, do you speak Farsi or Azerbaijani or whatever? And he's like, no, they speak Arabic there, and no, but I haven't decided yet. And then the Wiz calls him down and says, hey, let's does the door open left or right? And Boyd, not remembering from the photos, says, let's just say left. And he's like, oh, I can figure this out no matter what. And then a phone starts ringing. He's standing there with explosives in his hand, and the phone starts ringing, and he gets this look of panic on his face, and he says, I told you guys to leave your phones in the car. And then we find out that it's actually his phone that's ringing. And then he gets turned into mist. He just explodes, turned into pink mist, and covers Wynn and Boyd in blood and, viscera.
Again.
For the second time in 3 seasons, they are both covered in blood and viscera by a stranger who has just died in front of them. And I had a question about this scene because it's great. It's played 100% for comedic value. It also represents a significant setback for their ability to get into the safe. But at the same time, it's you've got them covered in blood, and what are they going to do? Do they call the wolf? Like how do you get back to the hotel? When we see Boyd gets back to the hotel and he's wearing the same clothes he was wearing when he left, but he's not drenched in fucking blood. So it's like, how did this happen? How did they hit a 1 hour dry cleaner? You know, that's the biggest scam in history.
Yeah.
No dry cleaner has ever cleaned anything in 1 hour.
I know.
So you always go in, same day dry cleaning. You go in and they're like, is Thursday okay? Wait, what are you talking about? Is Thursday okay? No, it's the same day on the sign. Oh yeah, we don't do that. I think that's an old comedy, hack premise, but still.
God, you know what? Because they were in Canada like last season. Yeah, it was last season with Picker and he had more blood on him there. Like I'm just thinking about Boyd.
Yeah,
like, you could see he was like basically still hadn't cleaned himself up after that experience over in the tower.
Yeah, and when they showed him at the donut shop later, he still had like residue blood stains on his shirt and everything.
On his shirt. Yeah.
But in this case we don't get that. It's like he had a change of clothes in the car or something.
Continuity error.
There is a little bit of a continuity error there for a show that really usually does really good with this sort of thing. It's a pretty big one. But so that's the end of Wynn and Boyd's story for this episode, which leaves us with Tim and Raylan. So after they figure out that, hey, Markham's guys probably killed these people who aren't selling the properties to them, they don't know it's Markham necessarily yet. They want to find out who Dickie Bennett sold his land to. So the Bennett land has been sold, and they want to find out who he sold it to and if he knows anything about the man behind the man. And so they go to prison to visit Dickie Bennett, and as usual, it doesn't disappoint. I've got a clip.
Ho-ho! What up, pimps? To what do I owe these particular splinters in my asshole today?
If splinters are all you're getting back there, Dickie, prison has treated you well.
Isn't it just like you? Isn't it just like him? To find hurtful potty mouth humor in sexual assault.
Maybe I should apologize. Maybe I should tease you about the wheelchair. I get conflicting impulses when I see you.
Sure you lovers don't want a conjugal?
Candy, cookies, chocolate donuts in a box.
Don't forget soda pop.
And soda pop.
I get it. I see you too. This right here, this is, what you call it? A revelation. This is one of them ecstatic visions I've been having of late. All right, here we go. Mighty Spirit.
Dickie Bennett.
Yeah.
This is Archangel Raylan, here to deliver unto thee loaded up commissary in exchange for your cooperation in a federal criminal investigation.
Oh, Mrs. Receipt, but I'm afraid what you ask, it's too great. It really is. I cannot see a way to answer your call.
Search your soul, numbnuts.
Can you not see the Lord herself hath damned me with incipient diabetes?
You shitting me?
Negatory.
So barter the sweets, get what you want.
There you
Yes. I don't believe you're hearing me. What I'm trying to say is, I'll break it down here. There just ain't way I'm gonna cooperate with you.
So we get a little song from Dickie there. And we go on to find out that what Raylan and Tim want to know is, hey, you sold your company to, or you sold your family land to the LM, trust or whatever. and we want to know if you know who that is. And Dickie says something to the effect of, oh, it's I found out